the people who truly get ahead in business and who win are people that when the chaos comes, they don't freak the f*** out.
I tell you, like, and I'm this way in business. On the racetrack, when it starts raining, I immediately get excited.
Yeah.
Now I can make a difference.
Yeah, dude. And the business is the same.
It's the same.
Like everybody's like, dude, in a bad economy or COVID comes, everybody freaks the f*** out.
What are we going to do?
My main thought when COVID happened, and I know it was yours too because we talked through it, was like, all right, dude, everybody else is going to up.
Yep.
We can jump miles ahead.
Yep. We can pass a lot of people.
And by the way, both of us did in our businesses.
That's right.
What is up, guys? It's Andy Frisella, and this is the show for the realists. Say goodbye to the lies, the fakeness, and delusions of modern society, and welcome to reality. Guys, today we are doing something different. We are going to actually have a full-length episode today, which we haven't had in a long time, but I can promise you, this is one you are going to want to listen to all the way through. So with the amount of negativity and stuff going on in the world and crazy shit, we thought we'd take an opportunity to give us a little breath from that and do a full length. And so that's what we're going to do. But before we get to that, I'm liking your new hat there, bro.
Oh, thanks, man. I had a friend gave this to me.
Yeah, it looks like you got extra brains.
Yeah, is that what that is?
Yeah. Is that what you're doing? You're trying to look smarter?
It expands in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got to fill up the hat.
It's all up in there.
Yeah, looks good. Sure. What's the sticker for there? Who gave you the hat?
Yeah, a special friend gave me this hat, and he's actually our guest today on the show. We got Ryan Harwick.
Yeah, what's up, dude?
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's going good.
Ryan, what's going on, man?
Man, a lot, actually.
Yeah, a little bit to talk about.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, dude, we've been talking about this for years. For those of you that don't know, Ryan is one of my best friends in the world. He's also a business partner of mine. We're partners in the race team. Dude, we've been friends for a long time now.
How long have you guys been knowing each other?
10 plus years.
Yeah, I want to say it was around 2015.
Yeah.
Wow. We had met really through cars. Through the car community.
Yep.
Mutual friends like, hey man, you know my friend Andy, and I'd found you online. I was following you. These were Facebook days, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, I know of him. It's like, oh, well, he's a friend. You guys should meet. You guys are both into cars, and going on 10 years, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I came down.
Yeah, I asked you to come.
Dustin you guys had me come down.
Yeah.
And I met you and Dustin and Justin.
Yeah.
And then
had you speak to all our salespeople.
Yeah.
Man. That was probably 16, 17 maybe.
Yeah. It was fun. I think I was just down there for the day.
Yeah, he came down quick. Yeah, we asked you where I'm in the motorcycle business.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, just real
He's
quick,
be humble.
Yeah. Ryan is going to be humble, but Ryan and Justin and the guy, they own what is, I think it's fair to say, one of the largest, if not the largest, motorsports dealerships in the whole country. One of the biggest in the world.
Yeah. We're in the top 3 in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. So how many locations do you guys have?
I have 12.
12. And these are not like little, they got a few motorcycles. These are like motorcycle, ATV, four-wheeler superstores. Mm-hmm. And you guys have every brand, don't you?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, there's a couple small brands, but all the Japanese motorcycle brands, Honda and Yamaha, the American brands like Polaris, Ducati, all the European brands. So yeah, they're it's a business that Justin and I grew up.
Now you guys started the cool thing about Ryan and Justin is they started like exactly when Chris and I started.
Yeah, with 99.
Yeah, and we're about the same age.
Yeah, about the same age. We don't have to say what that is, but
yeah, that's right. You just keep it general.
Yeah. No, that's where we kind of hit it off. You and I had a lot of similarities, and business, and probably I think we both started probably I know me for one, I had no idea what I was doing. Just we were going after it as fast as we could and learning a lot, but making a lot of mistakes. But we started in the same years, and then as the businesses grew, kind of our businesses were close in size, wise, as far as number of employees and things like that. So we had a lot of common ground and stuff to we could share and learn from each other. It's nice knowing that there's someone else out there having a lot of the same struggles dude. That you're having.
That's getting their ass kicked the exact same way.
Wait, so you got hit in the balls too?
Dude. A lot of times it's like they come in waves. It's like the same day.
You too.
Yeah. Oh, dude. How old were you there? That's dope right there.
Gosh, jeez, man.
I went to the closet. I went to the closet for that one. I'm like, damn, all right, Ryan.
Yeah,
that was business, Ryan.
I like that. Yeah. That's nice.
LinkedIn picture.
So, dude, what was it like? Before we get into the. I mean, obviously, most of the listeners here are success entrepreneurial minded. I mean, dude, just talk about that. They've all heard my story, but I mean, dude, you guys have an incredible story.
Yeah, I mean, we like I say, we Justin and I grew up together. We were riding dirt bikes all our lives. My father taught us to ride, and so it was our passion. And we kind of stumbled into the ability to submit an application to one of the manufacturers to open a dealership. And we were 19 years old when we sent this application in, and I spent a lot of time working on it about how passionate we were about the sport. And it was with American Honda, and Honda, sent us back, responded, said, "Hey, man, we really like your application. It's got a lot of passion behind it. You got a lot of really cool ideas, but you have no funding and you have no experience. Two important things to start a business." And so again, we knew no other way than to go and try to solve those two things we were told no, from. So we went out and tried to borrow money from others, and then we went to go find a partner that had experience in running a motorcycle dealership, and we worked for a couple years to find both of those things. So man, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you could borrow a lot more with a lot less than what you can now. So I will say the environment was ripe at that time, kind of .com, kind of turn of area to really, for a bank to loan a lot of money to two kids we had one other partner that he had a Yamaha Kawasaki dealership, near our town, and we talked him into partnering with us, and that was probably my first really good sales job. So trying to talk this really smart entrepreneur into partnering with two young kids, and that's how we got our start with a single line Honda store, and we opened in 2000. And fast forward, now it's 25 years. We're the third largest retailer of motorcycles in the world, and we sell thousands of vehicles a year, and we have now a little over 300. Getting close to 350 employees, and so it's been a wild, fun ride, and there was plenty of times in there when, man, very similar to your story, what we talked about, wanting to quit, wanting like, man, are we really cut out for this? Do we really know what we're doing? And competitors that were much bigger, but that's why I was drawn to racing at a young age, and racing's got a lot of similarities with business in that you're constantly surrounded by chaos in racing, and business is much the same way. There's things happening to you and around you that you can't control, and you're constantly adapting and evolving and changing, and so that I think that's why I've really enjoyed racing throughout my whole life, as well as business. I mean, obviously, we're all competitors. If you're not competitive, you have no business being in business.
Do something else.
Do something else if you're not competitive. So, entrepreneurship and racing just kind of went hand in hand. And I've been fortunate to be able to kind of do both. I feel like at a decently high level. Kind of at the same time.
Decently high level. Wins Le Mans. Wins Le Mans. Wins 24-hour the Rolex 24-hour Daytona.
Sebring. Stop it. I'll toot the fucking horn for you. I want to ask you this. All right, and I've asked.
You want to ask him or you want to ask him?
I want to ask. I say ask this.
I don't know what you said. I can't hear you.
Ask.
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
Hey, there you go.
All right.
All right.
I've asked Andy this a few times, but I mean, 25 years, and I'm not trying to date you at all, right?
Yep.
But 25 years, that's a long time. Does it feel like 25 years to you? Like when you look back, first store in 2000, everything did it go quick?
I would say now it feels like it went quick. There were times, I can really say about 10 years in, that it felt, I remember looking back at 10 years and thinking, man, I've been at this a while with, at that time, not as much growth as what, my partner Justin and I wanted, and that was coming out of the big financial crisis, disaster, 08, 09. I remember around 2010 thinking, man, we've been doing a lot of work for what at that time was a long time to us without, that level of success and growth that, we kind of thought we would be at 10 years in. And now, 25 years, looking back, it seemed to all go by pretty quick. I remember those first days like it was yesterday, right? But there were times along the way that, man, it felt
just
long.
grinding.
Grinding. Yeah.
I think it just depends on when you ask.
Yeah.
For real, dude. I think it's the same for us. When we were 10 years in, dude, we almost quit at 10 years in. Chris and I, a lot of you guys know that story. It was, I think the point about this is that entrepreneurship really recalibrates your sense of what a lot of time is compared to what you thought it was before you started down the journey. A lot of people hear 10 years and they think, oh man, that's forever.
It's a long time.
But then when you're 25, 26 years in, you look at 10 years and you're like, man, I've known you for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like that feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the reward that comes with it, but I do echo that. Like when I was 10 years in, I was like, what are we doing? Like we're wasting our lives.
Yeah.
And then now I look around and I'm like, well, this was worth it. It's just, I don't know. I think people misjudge the amount of time that it actually takes.
Yeah, I think it's easy. I mean, I know you've said it for forever, and that it's a problem with a lot of our younger people. But guys coming up through the ranks right now, whether it's you're starting your own business or you're working within an organization, 10 years is, it's not a short amount of time, but it's super easy to get frustrated around that time, thinking like, man, I've done the work, I'm listening to Andy, I'm doing the things, but it's still. It takes more time than that, right? And the analogy of driving a race car. I mean, that's like I get a lot of questions like, man, Ryan, you won these big races, 24 hours a mile. Like the amount of time, I just tell you in racing, the amount of cars I've crashed. Okay, like properly crashed. Okay?
Full send.
To develop
not
skill,
not bent.
Not bent. Like throw it away, crashed. Right, lit on fire. You have to crash the car. I mean, there's no way if you want to develop the skill. We'll use a racing car for an example to drive a race car like on the limit. We've just said to find. If you're going to drive on the limit, you got to first find where that limit is. And in order to find it, you have to go over it. This is part of it. And in business is no different, man. It takes a long period of time of crashing, of making mistakes, right? And having that ability to get back up and say like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to learn. Why did I crash? What happened? There was a reason, whether it's physics, stupidity, someone else's fault in another car, whatever it is. Whatever, thinking you could do something the car couldn't do, whatever it is, you got to learn from that, and then you got to be able to apply it, really quickly, again and again and again, and so there's so many. I think it's why you were first, like when I was starting out in it, first couple of years, I brought it to you. I'm like, hey Andy, maybe this would make sense if Phorm was involved and I'm doing this racing at this level. And, obviously you're a car guy. We're a car guy. We like cars, but there's just something about racing. And I don't care if it's racing a motorcycle, a foot race, a car race. I mean, of this competition, you versus the next person, right next to you thinking, I'm better than you. I'm going to get there quicker than you, better than you. I don't know. There's just it's like the purest essence of competition to me, right? And then there's so much, connection to business. And, I know it's what drove me into it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's 100% parallel. I mean, I think we just talked about it on yesterday's show, but it's confusing how people could be competitive in other areas, but then not understand it in the business aspect. Yep. You know, I just think a lot of people don't really understand the rules of business because they're so parallel to any sort of competition.
Yep.
You know, team sports or individual sports. Yep. But yeah, dude, you know, one of the things that people know, but I mean, you were very, very high level water sports racer.
Yeah.
Okay. Not swimming. But like,
shit, I was about to be happy there.
No. So like the stand-up jet skis, right?
Yeah, jet ski. I mean, jet ski. All my like teenage years, I was racing jet skis and all around the world, and that was an awesome sport. I mean, still, I have a lot of friends in that sport. It's kind of what helped really get me, you know, cemented into the motorsport business and met a lot of the, you know, manufacturers and the marketing people and stuff. But that was a fun sport. I got to travel a lot around the country and the world doing that. And I'm for sure, I do think I'm definitely the only person that's won the 24 Hours of Le Mans and also a jet ski world championship. So I think I have that one.
That's pretty cool.
That's my own.
Land and sea, baby.
I think I'm the only one on that one, you know. But that was a fun sport. I mean, that's where I kind of learned, you know, to cut my teeth. But I'll tell you one big difference, like coming from motorcycles and jet skis, I would say those are much more individual, you know, racing type things. It's really about the rider and the bike or the jet ski. Or car racing, I think, is even much more similar to like a business and an organization. It is to me, car racing is like the quintessential team sport. The only thing even close to me is like football, American football. Like if, you know, the center isn't doing his job or the guard, I don't care how good your quarterback and running back are, right? Like it has to be a team.
Yeah,
right?
one person has the ability to the entire thing.
Yeah. Car racing, like drivers get talked about all the time, whether it's the NASCAR driver, or the IndyCar driver, or the Formula One driver. All of those forms of car racing is a massive team sport. I mean, our team, the team that, you know, we won Le Mans with this year, Manthey, you know, Porsche, we have 62 people within the team that are at the races, all performing different roles, you know, from engineering to mechanics to, you know, car, you know, physios.
Now, is that per car?
This is total over
for the whole
cars.
team.
Yeah. So my car has a touch more, 34 people, 62. So running 2 cars, so 34 people on my car, you know. And man, one person doesn't pull their weight, whether it's the preparation of the car before it gets there, the pit stop. I mean, like in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, we're doing a pit stop roughly every hour, where we're changing tires, filling it up with fuel, fixing anything that maybe messed up.
It is a wild thing to see. I had the opportunity of coming down and watching you at the 24-hour Daytona.
Yep.
And like just the level of like how zoned in everybody was. Like everybody on the crew was. Like I remember I got one of the crew. He was taking tires to go. I guess like you guys recycle them, right? And you gotta take them to the tire station, right?
Yeah, to get changed.
Yeah, to get changed out, right? And so I remember riding. Like he's like, "Hey, you want to roll?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, I want to go. Like this would be cool." I'm like, "What are we doing? Just dropping them off." And we got there, and then we waited, and then they loaded us back up. And we just sat there. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I got like 10 more seconds before I got to go because I have to time it up with the next." Like, even being early puts the other guy back. Like dude, it's a wild orchestra of just like everybody's in sync, man. I'm just like, dude, that's crazy to even think about. Like, you don't even want to show up 10 seconds early because it's going to throw somebody else off.
Yeah, you're in the way.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and these guys, like our pit crews, like these, I think a lot of people don't understand like how much of an athlete you have to be. Like these guys that are, you know, doing the tire changes or, you know, the fuelers. Most of them are athletes, you know, from some other sport growing up, whether it's football, you know, soccer, baseball, basketball. Man, they train like unbelievably, you know, and every like movement is synchronized, right? You know, from where they place their knee, their hands, you know, the tire placement and all this. And like at the 24-hour races, these guys are doing this at, you know, 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. And like the drivers sometimes when, you know, like there's 3 drivers on our team, you know, for the 24-hour race. So yeah, I drive like 2 to 3 hours at a time. And then I'm out of the car and I get to rest for, 4 to 6 hours, right? While my teammates are going, these guys on the pit crew, they don't get to rest. I mean, they don't have backup guys. They're nonstop, 24 hours. So it's just like a well-ran organization that every single person within the organization knows their role. They're experts at their role. We have authority as well within the race team. You have your superior that you're listening to and you report to, and the best race teams have an unbelievable, organizational culture. They have an unbelievable, framework of who does what, and you don't question that person next to you, or trying to get to that next level because you play that key role within the team. And maybe the next season you can apply for another position, within the organization and train for that. But when we're at a race, everyone knows their exact job, their exact role, their exact duty, and, things run very smoothly, with that. There's other race teams where I've been a part of that aren't ran so well, just like businesses that aren't ran well, and you can see it, man. You can feel the culture when you walk in the garage, of, man, is everyone not really wanting to be here? They don't like who they work for. This is just a job they're taking because they got turned down from that other team, and they're really just trying to get to the next thing, versus like this team that I won with this year with Porsche. I mean, they're highly regarded as one of the best teams in the paddock, and the reason why is every single person, they love what they do, they love who they work for. As driver, you want to, as a driver, you want to earn their respect, show all the pit crew that you respect what they do, and it goes vice versa, right? I've seen so many teams where no one respected each other. The drivers didn't respect the crew members didn't respect the driver, and the whole thing, and the results tend to match, right? That effort. So it's another great example of how culture, in winning organizations versus culture in losing organizations, it's extremely parallel.
Yeah, I think a lot of people also misjudge how fit you have to be on one of these teams. Like these guys who do the pit crew, these guys train for that.
Every day.
Yeah,
every day.
And by the way, driving the car is not easy. It is very, very physically intensive. I think a lot of people think when they see a race on television, they think it's like driving their car on the road sort of fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I won't lie. I misjudged it before I got into it.
Bro, I did. I remember my first 10 laps in a race car?
Yeah.
Dude, I went 10 laps in this
the Ferrari.
Yeah, and the Ferrari challenge car, I think it was.
Yeah.
And first 10 laps I'd ever been in a race car. And dude, I got out of the car, I had to lay on the fucking ground. Like it was legit. First of all, you don't know how to breathe. So you're like,
hold your breath,
tense the whole time because dude, you're driving. It's just so different. You have to like do it to understand how different it is. Even if you're a great driver on the road, it's just a different thing. Like, for example, the braking. Like when you go on the road and you see a light, coming up and it turns yellow, you'll start to ease on the brakes, right? And then eventually you'll come to a full stop. Racing's the complete opposite. You're trying to basically shorten the amount of time that you're on the brakes to save time, which means you're going to go as close to that light as possible, stand on the brakes as hard as possible, hoping that you will slow down enough to stop. Yeah. And dude, it's just a completely different thing than driving on the road. It's completely different.
It's addicting. I mean, you saw it when what Andy's talking about. We took him to this like racing school in Vegas. This was
just when you won
2017.
2017.
Yeah.
That's
when we won NASCAR. That's right.
Yeah. It's just, you can, like you said, I mean, you can take we all drive cars, right, on the street, right? So you think, how hard could it be? You go left, you go right, slow down, hit the brakes. And one thing, a racing car, like you drove the Ferrari Challenge car, I mean, a racing car compared to a street car, I mean, the greatest street car you can make. I mean, you've driven some of the best cars in the world, right? They're unbelievable. They perform really well. They usually go really well with speed, right? But with a racing car, the ability to stop at a tremendous tremendous rate in a very short distance is unbelievable. And it's not just the brakes, it's the tires, it's like the downforce, right? The force that you have to hit to stop a race car, at speed, at pace, is so unbelievably hard. I mean, when, like I told Andy, you got to hit the brake hard. He was like, okay. You look at Andy and think like, this guy can hit the brake, right?
Yeah,
he'll be fine, And he goes out there his first few laps, and because there's a sensor on the brake pedal, it measures pressure per square inch. And we come back, we're like, hey, Andy, the brake pressure, we need, you can hit it, man. You hit it harder. He's like, dude, I am hitting it hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like, dude, no. You don't know, like, you don't understand. You don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
Like you think they're saying like
break it.
hard on the road.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, it's like as hard as you can.
Yeah. Try to break the pedal off.
Yeah. It feels counterintuitive.
Yeah,
like when you first start.
Everything feels wrong because honestly, if you were in a street car and you hit the brake as hard as what you have to on the racing car, you would probably crash the street car. It doesn't have the suspension and the downforce to just suck to the road. It would, you could lose the car, right? In a race car, it's designed to, at the last possible moment, you go from zero brake pressure to it's undeniably,
and it's not like you're coasting when that happens. You're at full throttle.
Full throttle.
Okay, and then you're off the throttle and on the brake, full brake.
Yeah.
And it's
aggressive.
It's a thing, dude. Like you get out of the car and your first time, and you're like, it's disorienting.
Well, one of the most things, and you'll see Formula One, IndyCar drivers, one of the toughest things in training that we're all working on is our necks.
Yeah.
And obviously there's G-force side to side, but then also when you're racing, you have a helmet on, right? And this helmet, weighs a decent amount when you're sitting still. Well, when you're traveling fast, it weighs a lot more. And the biggest is the G-force you have under braking.
Yeah.
Right. And your head is, you're strapped in with your body with the 5-point harnesses, but your head is loose, right?
Yeah.
So the amount of force that you've got to be able to withhold with your neck from your face wanting to slam into the steering wheel, it takes some time getting used to.
Dude, it was awesome. It's awesome, dude. Like, and once you it's like golf. It's like you go out and you play golf, and for 17 holes, you hit the ball all over the golf course. And you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And then there's one shot that you hit and it goes straight down the fairway. And it's like,
I'm going pro.
You're like,
I'm going pro.
You're like, this is the coolest thing ever. And that's how it is with racing. Like it's I'm very inexperienced in a race car. Okay. But I have enough experience driving, like you said, the best cars in the world to have a good,
well, you got a great foundation.
Perspective.
You weren't that bad.
No, it turned out good, bro. We got some funny stories.
We got some
stories. So I'm ultra competitive, dude. Right? Like everybody probably guessed this. So the other thing I struggled with was the spinning of the car. All right, like I think I spun the car over the weekend. It had to be some sort of record. Like it had to be.
I want something.
Yeah, dude. It had to have been.
Remember when we were talking about finding the limit, right?
Yeah.
You got to go past it.
Yeah. And what's his name? Enrico? Enrico was like, hey, man, at least you're aggressive. Most people are not aggressive.
Yeah, they drive the whole time. Yeah. They never spin. Yeah.
So dude, we're we're at this race, and like all these other dudes that are there are like guys who have been through the school already. And it's like their year-end race. Mm-hmm. I had not been through the school. So like we just went out there and like I just was with all these dudes. So I was the least experienced person there.
Yeah.
And we start running these practice laps, and I got this coach, I forget his name, was JR, I think his name was. Yeah. And bro, he's screaming in my ear, first of all. Like dude, when people scream at me, I'm like, and he's like, gas, brake. Like just screaming in your ear from this far away to telling you what to do. And from the first second you pull on the track, I'm like, bro, can I go around once? Like, I don't even know what the we're looking at. So we go around the track a whole bunch of times for 3 days. And dude, I'm spinning the car, and we get to the third day, dude. And I don't remember what happened, but dude, so there's this guy who was my race partner. So they pair you up with another guy.
Yeah.
All right.
Like
and
you're going to run the first half of the race and they run like the second.
They
half.
paired me up with this dude, Craig, who was, he was a little bit older than us. An awesome dude. He's from Australia. We're still friends on the internet. In fact, he runs a Dream Racing in Australia.
In Australia. Yeah. I remember that.
But his son was there. His son's like 12. Okay. So like, do you,
I remember.
but what happened?
Well, there was like a qualifying, right? It's a proper race. It's going to be a proper race at the end of this like week-long deal that you only came for the last few days of. But, you had to do a qualifying. So each driver could go out to try to set their one fastest lap time, just like we do a real race. And that would determine how you would start and line up, right? Well, you had a spin in like the last practice and got like completely down on yourself.
Yeah.
That you were like, you were ready to go do something else.
Dude,
But you were the one that was supposed to qualify for you and Craig.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't qualify, then Craig would have to start like dead last.
Yeah.
So then his son comes over to.
So dude, I come out of the car and I'm like, this is, I'm pissed, bro. Like you guys see me like when I'm top level pissed. That's how pissed I was. And I'm like, Ryan's like, yeah, just leave him alone. Like
let him
leave him alone for a second. Like, so dude, I go sit by myself, like way over there.
Yeah.
And this Craig's son, who's 12 at the time, comes over and like sits next to me, and I'm like, I'm mad, dude. And like, and then
choke a kid.
No, but like, how can you be mad at a 12-year-old kid?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, hey man, you're doing good. He's like, no, listen.
He gives him
no,
pep talk.
He gives me like a pep talk.
Yeah.
He's like, and he meant it, dude. He's like, hey, you're doing good. This is your first time on the track. He's like, you're doing really good. My dad said you're doing good too.
Yeah.
And like gives me this pep talk. And like 5 minutes later, I'm like, all right.
Yeah,
I'm good. Let's go. like, dude.
Good.
Yeah. So like, out of all the pep talks I've given in my life, I get the best one from a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah, you went. If I remember right, don't get me wrong, but I remember
we won qualifying.
You qualified. You went out. You won qualifying.
Yeah.
So you beat all the other cars. So there's like 8 cars or something. And then you started the race. And
I finished the race.
You finished it.
Yeah.
You qualified. Then Craig started from your position. Then you finished. But
yeah.
And I remember you telling me like, man, dude, the kid came over and was like, Mr. Andy, you're doing good. And like that, I realized like, man, I can't let this get like, I can't get mad and leave now,
dude. And so in the actual race, bro, like I don't remember how many laps we run or whatever. I think was it timed? Was it an hour?
Yeah, probably.
I don't remember what it was.
Started in the day, but finished into the night.
Yeah. So. But dude, I hadn't gone that long the entire weekend without spinning the car. Like, so somehow I went through the whole race and didn't spin the car, and we won.
Oh,
which was
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
But dude, the best laps I ran that race were when we went. I don't know if I should say this or not, but we were at the bar drinking, like having a couple drinks. And then we had to take a helicopter from the hotel to the racetrack for like a night event there. And then they let you like drive
take a couple laps.
Yeah, whatever car you want for a couple laps. And I had a GT3 RS at the time, so I was familiar with the car. Dude, I did fine in that car. I had a couple whiskeys in me, but there was nobody else.
Nice and loose, nice and smooth.
I was nice and relaxed.
Yeah. Don't recommend this.
Anyway, I don't even know I should say that.
He's a professional.
It is truth. But man,
I'll never forget that weekend. I didn't know when you were so upset after the qualifying. We were just starting out, like we were racing together that year. It was your first year sponsor.
We were doing Lamborghini Super
Trofeo. Yeah. So it's the first time we had first Phorm on the race car, and I was sitting there thinking, like, man, this is probably gonna be the first and last time I have a first Phorm sponsorship, and he's gonna hate cars so much.
No, it was awesome,
dude. Yeah, you did great, man. That was a good time. Yeah, it's great business out there. We were at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, dude. And remember, I don't even know if I should tell these stories, dude. Enrico renting those 2 Jettas.
Oh yeah.
So, dude,
learning car control.
Yes. Yeah. So Enrico's like former F1.
Yeah, he drove F1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this dude, I don't know. What do you think he is? 60s?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, early 60s now. Yeah.
Yeah, he's late 50s, early 60s.
Italian guy. Awesome guy.
Super awesome guy. Yeah. Super cool.
Yeah.
Like exactly like every other race car driver that's like just
he owned the racing school.
Yeah, he owned the whole thing. And he's like, hey, no big deal. Like, just not doesn't give a The only thing he gave a the entire time was when we were he goes and he rents these Jettas, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, all right, we're going to go do, what do they call it? Where you follow them?
Yeah, lead follows.
Lead
follows.
So him and I went out on the track together and like raced each other.
You're trying to learn how close you can be to another car in front of you or beside you. Like we all drive on the road and you think, oh, I'm close to the car in front of me. When you really learn what close is, you know, like touching.
Close means they touch you.
They touch you.
Yeah.
Well, don't hit, you know.
Yeah. Rubbin's Racing.
Rubbin's Racing.
That's right.
You
know what the movie that's from?
Yeah.
Days of Thunder.
The greatest movie ever.
Greatest movie ever.
Yeah.
That's right. But yeah, so you were learning, car control and car proximity with lead and follow with two rental cars.
So we're driving
the Las
these
Vegas airport.
I'm just trying to picture Andy in a fucking Jetta.
No, bro.
Oh, awesome.
This is awesome.
Some of the most fun. Yeah,
so we're racing these Jettas around the racetrack.
And the coach is like, you can get closer, get closer.
And we're like bumping each other's shit. And like we get done and I'm like, the only thing he got mad about is we were going down the straight and I faked go to, and he's like, can't do that. That's against the code. Like he got super pissed. But dude, so we got done and I'm like, so dude, I'm like, so how come you don't use your own cars for that? And he's like, well, because we beat him up. And I'm like, so like the rental place doesn't carry. He's like, no, we just get the insurance. He was dead serious, dude. He was dead serious. I'm like, so they haven't caught on? He's like, no, they don't care. Like, no big deal.
That's crazy.
Yeah, learning to drive a race car.
But yeah, man,
that was good times. That's what we should honestly do that again.
Dude, what we should do is get like some of our guys here that, you know, make them like, we'll do a contest or something and take them and get them in a race car.
Yeah.
Cause like, dude, you cannot appreciate racing. Cause here's the best thing that came out of that. It wasn't what I learned about driving, which I did learn a lot. I mean, you want to learn how to drive, you learn a lot in a very short amount of time in a race school. But it's like playing a musical instrument. Like when you start to play a musical instrument and you realize how hard it is, and then you see like somebody who's really good at it and you can appreciate, it's the same with racing. The best thing that came out of that race school for me was how much of a fan it made me of racing.
Yep.
You know, because now I'm like, dude, these guys are really good. Like where we watch, if you've never been through that and you watch racing, you're like, I could probably do that. You know, and it's like, dude, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah. If anyone's you're into cars, I mean, going out on a racetrack, even just completely by yourself, it's awesome to learn. You think you have limits, right? And then if you ever get a chance to be around a professional driver, and as soon as you start thinking like, man, you know, like I'm doing good here, you know, I'm really killing it. If you ever get a chance to ride like passenger seat with a top level driver, your eyes will really get open about what's possible, right? You know, in terms of braking.
Yeah, and where the limit really is on a car. Yeah. Like, dude,
it's so far past.
It is what people think it is. When everything's right. Like when your tires are right and like what that car will do is like almost double or triple what you think it'll do. Yeah. Like what you feel when you're in the car.
Oh, it's what takes people so much longer. Like I remember telling you one of the wildest corners in all of racing anywhere is turn 1 at Sebring in Florida. The race of the car here that we won. This corner is like you enter the corner in 5th gear on a car. We do have one more gear, but you enter it at around 150 miles an hour from a really long straightaway before it, and there's bumps all the way through this thing. And there's a concrete wall that is marks the apex of the corner on the inside, and it's a virtually a 90-degree corner. So you're going straight, and it's a hard left that's a 90-degree. And this corner, our minimum speed in a GT3R is about 130 2 miles an hour. That's the slowest that you get in the middle of the corner. And I remember walking you through that one and telling like, no, wait, 134 is like the slowest. And like, believe me, when you first go at it, and there's also a concrete wall that you're staring at.
Don't
down
you
the whole
start that
straightaway.
on the outside and kind of like try to cross it straight, almost across?
You do, yeah. You start any high speed corner. You want to start as far to the outside of the corner, and make the apex, and then utilize all the track on the exit. You try to open the corner up as much as possible. And that one's just wild because it's basically a hard right. There's a concrete wall on the inside, a concrete wall on the outside. So if you mess up, there isn't like a sand pit or some gravel or, everything vacate. If you mess up, like you mess up really bad. Right?
Yeah.
And like I said, the slowest you get down to is roughly 130 miles an hour. And like that one, when you can wrap your mind around, like when you actually do it once, you have a whole new understanding, of what's possible. And then like, that's probably one of the gnarliest ones here, but I'm sure you guys I know you in Formula One, big fan of Spa in Belgium.
Yeah.
This is the greatest racetrack in the world. There's no question. And there's a corner there called Eau Rouge. It's actually a series of corners that are all tied together. And it's that is without a doubt like the craziest thing I have ever done.
That's the downhill one, right?
No, you go uphill. So you enter this section of corners at top gear, so six gear, as fast as the car will go, and it's a series of corners that you first go left.
Is that it right there though?
Yeah,
like
all of these corners are it.
Yeah.
This is all it. So it's a combination of like 4 corners tied together, and it's, if you mess up here, again, there's no like runoff, there's no mistake. This is like the deadliest corner in racing. More drivers have died at this one corner than like anywhere else in the world, because it can be done like in a GT3, it can be done flat without lifting, but this is like perfect weather conditions, perfect grip from the tires, perfect weight balance with the car. And then where most people make a mistake, if you lift, your heart and soul and everything in your body says, hey man, we should back off here a little bit. If you lift, you actually take downforce off the car and make the car squirrely and move. Yeah. And if you lift at the wrong moment in this series of course, there's no saving it. I mean, there's no catching it. And it's a really bad crash. Now, I say all these bad things. When you do it the first time wide open without lifting, it is the most exhilarating feeling on planet Earth. I don't know anything any better. And maybe it's like, oh, you cheated, you've seen all the massive crashes and stuff, but there's nothing that I can even like closely describe to it. And like when you first arrive there, you can watch it on TV as much as you want, but when you first arrive, it's going uphill. This hill is like you're climbing like 3 stories, and it's a hard left, a hard right, and a hard left back again. And you're like, wait a second, this is flat? Like my first thought approaching it was, we need to not only lift, we need to probably brake and maybe consider a downshift. We should consider all of the above. But this place, like I've been telling you, like you've got to go to like watch a race there, and then they have like driving events. Like you can go and like Porsche and Manthey, they do like track days where you can turn up and drive like a GT3 RS or whatnot. Like you got to go drive at this track, and you don't have to do Eau Rouge flat, but just to go up it. It's an experience in person. Like as a car, person, like anyone, if you're ever into it, like go to Belgium, go to Spa, watch the F1 race. They have a 24-hour race there as well. I've won that race. I've some of my best driving I've ever done. I was on pole position there for the European Le Mans Series Championship one year, and that was probably the best lap I've ever done in my life. But that's awesome. That place is cool.
So, dude, let's kind of shift a little bit and let's talk about moving, through the big races. We started it with Lamborghini's series race.
Yeah. Super Trofeo, a single make series where all the cars were exactly the same. And that's a great place to start as a driver, because as a driver, you're the only difference. I mean, everyone's car is exactly the same with the rules, and teams can make small adjustments like the rear wing angle and the ride heights, but not really a lot. So it's truly a competition of the driver, where now, and just like Formula One or what we race now in GT3, you're racing against other manufacturers. So, there's always differences between a Porsche and a Ferrari and a Lamborghini. So there's more variables. But single make series like the Super Trofeo for Lamborghini, that was awesome because, there's no excuses, man. If you're slow,
in every major for those of you who are not familiar with this, so Porsche has one of these single makes, Ferrari has one of these single makes. There's basically one for every major manufacturer, and that's where most like what we would call gentleman racers that end up doing what you've done come from.
Yeah, that's where you go. I mean, it's one of the least expensive forms of racing. A lot of guys that do it for fun. They like that part of it. That hey, the driver's only difference. But it's where you go to kind of get your start. I would say and in racing, if you do well, like they have a championship with Lamborghinis here in North America. In our second year of racing that, we won the North American Championship, and then you go to a World Championship where they have a series in Europe and they have a series in Asia and America, and all those drivers come together at one race. They change the location, and this is the same with Ferrari. This is the same with Porsche, and for Lamborghini in our second year, we won the World Championship. So once you do that, they kind of kick you out. Because they want it. They want it to be like a place for young drivers that are coming up can go to. So that was
plus you got to realize these are their best customers. There's you want to keep
you can't have one guy there winning all the time, and they kind of politely ask you, hey,
it's time to move on.
It's time to move on.
So then we moved in
2018, right?
That was 2018. Yeah.
And then we moved into IMSA.
Yeah. The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. We moved there in 2019, which here in North America, that's kind of like our top level of sports car and endurance racing. It's owned by NASCAR, so the France family and all, and that's the home of our biggest races, like the 24 hours of Daytona and the 12 hours of Sebring, and that's where all the manufacturers come to compete against each other. So, the Lamborghini races against the Porsche and against the Corvette and against the Ferrari, and so that's our first year racing there was in 2019.
And then we won, that was what, 2021? The Porsche
2020.
12 hours. That was 2020.
2020. We won the 12 hours of Sebring, and that was our first big, it was. I mean, that was our first big, kind of marquee, race. That the 12 hours of Sebring is one of the triple crown of sports car racing, which is Sebring, Daytona, and then obviously the 24 hours of Le Mans being the biggest. But we won that race in 2020. It was the last race of the year that year, and man, that was an awesome time with Andy. Andy was gonna come to that race, and he had something come at the last minute. He couldn't come, and I had a feeling we were pretty competitive in the championship that year. We had been on the podium a couple times, but we hadn't won a race, at this high level. And it's a 12-hour race, and we qualified well. I think we were in the top 3 or so in qualifying, so I kind of knew we had a decent car and all. Started the race off, we were always kind of around the top 5. We got up to the lead for a little bit, and then you kind of fall back. It's obviously there's lots of chaos, but I remember about halfway through, we were somewhere in the top 5, and I'm out of the car at this point. My teammates are in, and I'm texting with Andy. He's back here watching it, and he watches every minute. He knows everything going. He asks why are we pitting right now? Is everything okay?
I'm definitely that guy.
Why are you? And it's
dude, when they're racing, it's on TV. I don't sleep.
Yeah, he wants to know the inside. We pit now because we're saving some fuel. So I have to explain to him the strategy, what's going on, and I remember it with 6 hours to go. He's like, dude, we're going to win. And I'm like, there's a long way to go. There's a lot that can happen. 6 hours, bro. He's like, no, man, I feel it. We're going to win this one. And I just dismissed it. I'm like, okay, I'll keep you posted, And I went in for another stint or so. I come back out. There's 2 hours to go or so, and we're in the lead. We're going. It's dark now. Sebring always ends at night. And I'm done with my drive time. My teammates are going to end. Patrick Long was our teammate that year, who's in the new F1 movie. If you get a chance to see it, he's got plays himself in the movie.
Was it Corey on the team that year? Or
no, Corey wasn't on. That was the next year. Yeah. But yeah, no, we were leading, and we were in this battle with the Ferrari. I remember, and the Ferrari was faster than us that year. They just had pace on us, and we were scrappy, And Andy's texting with me. We get down to the hour that's left, and he's like, "Dude, I'm telling you, we're gonna win." And I'm like, "Don't say it, just don't don't jinx us, man. Like, you never know." And man, there was a yellow flag because there was a crash with like 15 minutes to go. And so that bunches the whole field back up. So now it was just kind of us and the Ferrari up front, but then now there's like the whole field is now bunched up, and they clean the wreck up, and then it's green flag again. There's like 30 minutes left in the race, and man, we had an awesome battle, but we won the race, crossed the line, finish. It was a super close race, and man, I can't. It was like, I'm not a guy. I mean, your text said something like, "I'm not going to say I told you so, but I did tell you so."
Dude, what was that race that we won that there was like was that the race where there was like a wreck right at the end? Like right at the end?
That was Sebring. Yeah, and that's what
the AMG car wrecked?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Maybe it was Mercedes. I can't remember. I just remember this Ferrari we were battling, and
now, you guys recycled that engine because that car is sitting in the lobby. Then that engine, the same engine, went to next year and won the 21 Daytona.
No, it's like different engine. The car
that engine is in his house.
Is in my house.
Gotcha.
Porsche did a cool gift. Andy, we got to keep the car, from Porsche. It's here at Phorm headquarters. But they had told us at the time, like, hey, we have to take the engine out to do some maintenance before it like goes into, storage or, display. But Porsche made a really awesome gift for me. They took the engine out that we won, and they made the engine, the whole block and everything, into a coffee table. And they gifted it to me. And they took the 6 pistons out, and they gave like the 2 other drivers, they made the piston with like a frame and everything, and like our lead engineer and the lead mechanic. So 6
everybody's got a piece of it. Yeah.
Got like a piston, in the rod. And then they gave me it's still in my basement, my man cave, today. Awesome. But that was, I had one other time that Andy had I told you so. When we won Daytona 2 years later in 2022, won the 24 Hours of Daytona, he was again like during the race, like, "Bro, I feel we're winning this," and I'm like, "Oh God, not again!" Like,
we got the text to prove it.
Yeah, we got the text, so we were like, "Dude, we're gonna win." Like, I'm telling you, we're gonna win. And every time I'm out of the car,
we were talking about that before the race.
We were because
remember we put "believe" on the back of the car.
On the back of the car. Yeah, I had this whole There
was a FaceTime call too in the locker room before that.
With the team. We had Andy called to we always have a team meeting, before the race, day, and Andy called in on FaceTime. He spoke to all our mechanics, all our, guys, and gather around, and he said, "Guys, you gotta believe." Like, and he said, "I already believe." Said, "I already believe we are going to win. We're prepared. We're ready, and we are going to win." And it got everybody pumped up, And we had, out of that, the team made a little sticker right on the back of the bumper. We just put "believe." And that was kind of our inner mantra, that before you can do anything great, you got to believe. And that all came from Andy. And the race went up and down again.
Now we had tried to win that race a number of times before this.
Oh yeah,
and it was
4 times before it. And I'm like, "Andy, this is one of the hardest races in the world." I'm just
some dudes will race their whole lives and never win that race. Same with Lamar.
Yeah.
In fact, most people.
Yeah. It's, the guy who owned the team that we were racing with that year, John Wright, he spent his entire career.
Awesome dude.
Awesome guy, owns Wright Motorsports. He started as a mechanic for a team for Porsche, worked his way up, got to own his own team. And he's been racing professionally as a mechanic and team owner for 30 some odd years of his life, and done Daytona every one of those years, and he never won. And, I'm telling Andy, I'm like, "Hey man, most people spend their career trying to win this race." And he's like, "Well, we're going to win." and dude, and I'll never forget, we still have it to this day. We crossed the finish line, we won. And I was, obviously it's very hectic and all of this. And we were going up to the podium. I checked my phone. Andy had text. He goes, "Hey man, I love you, brother. And I want you to know I always believe in you. And one other thing, we're going to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans." Like immediately, we hadn't even gone to accept the trophy from Daytona. We hadn't done it. And Andy's already telling me, "We're going to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans." And I'm like, Oh, Andy,
which started a whole new journey.
A whole new journey, yeah. So next year, off we went to Europe, trying to start to qualify for Le Mans, and it took a couple years.
The first two Le Mans did not go very well.
Did not go very well.
What happened, Ryan?
I mean, a lot of shit can happen in 24 hours. Let me tell you.
Or the first hour.
Yeah, or the first. Yeah. Gosh, the first year we crashed out. I mean, I think I made it into like hour 2 or something, but I was in the car. We crashed, and actually another guy crashed.
Hit you. Yeah.
And
See what happened was
I arrived at another crash going on, and I joined that crash.
It looked like a good time.
Thought we would all, things happen. Like that's why these 24-hour races are so difficult to win. I can't explain to you when you put. This year at Le Mans, there were 62 cars in the field. We're in a couple different classes, but there's 62 cars out there running around. And you put 62 cars with Type A personality drivers who all think they're the best in the world and are all, trying to win the biggest race in the world. And man, shit happens, know, and you're constantly in this environment of chaos that is uncontrollable. And it's so easy for you to do everything right. Like our first year at Le Mans, I was at the right spot on the track. I did the right thing, and just this other guy, he crashed literally right in front of me. I mean, and everyone's like, "Oh, Ryan, don't take it so hard on yourself." Like no one could have done anything. Max Verstappen couldn't have avoided that crash. You always think that there's something better you could do, but a lot of times, you can be prepared and something happens out of your control and that's it, man.
I think you guys got to understand, like you can literally, like, to finish even a 12-hour race or a 6-hour race, much less a 24-hour race without the car breaking, without you slipping on something on the track, without
flat tire,
without, I mean, dude, there's so much shit that has to go right. It's, like you said, somebody could crash in front of you.
Yep.
Somebody could make a stupid move. Oh, by the way, you're in GT3 or GTD class, which is the slowest class out there, but also the hardest class to win in.
Yeah, biggest class.
Yes, because you've got all these other cars, like the prototype cars that are $10 million a piece, flying by you. Like, it's, dude, there is an element, and I hate using this word, but there is an element of pure luck to get through.
Without a doubt. I mean, without a doubt. You have to, we say all the time, like these big races, you have to be prepared.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and because you're going into this uncontrollable situation, you have to execute on every single thing you can control. Like for the driver, like my fitness, I can control that. I have to execute. I can't be fatigued. I can't be overweight. I can't be, I have to be perfect. I can control that. We can control our pit stops. Right? We can control if we make sure that the wheel guns are working properly. We can control that if we practice that and choreograph that. We can control that the tire pressures are set correctly in the tires. There's lots of things we can control, and we have to execute on all those things because you're going to go out on track with these 61 other, idiots, all that you can't control, right? You can't control the weather. You can't control track conditions. You can't control, safety cars when they come out. So there's all these things that you just have to focus on the things that you can control. And so you can be perfect on all those things and have a run of bad luck.
People don't understand, dude. Like, there's guys out there, like, you can basically buy your way into these things. So in every race, and this is no knock, but I mean, this is just the way racing is. Yeah. Like, you're going to be on the track with guys who are super professional, F1 champions, the best drivers in history. And you're also going to be on the track with the dude next door that has a medical device company that has enough money to run the race, who doesn't know shit about racing. Yeah. So it's like, dude, it really is chaos.
There's always a handful of those guys.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what a lot of it takes to win. I get a lot of those questions. What does it take, and like how do you pull it off? And honestly, you got to have The thing that I think is rare is, one, there are definitely better teams than others. So you've got to get to a position as a driver that you're on the radar of some of the best teams. If you're shit slow, or you don't have fun, there's a financial element. Like
right.
For me, the rare combination that I've been able to spend the time to develop the skill set in order to drive the car fast. That's one thing that is rare. And then also, I've been able, through my business life, through my relationship with you, sponsorship, some driver has to bring financial element
right.
to the deal, whether that comes from your own money, whether that comes from outside sponsorship. You can find either of those two. You can find super talented, fast drivers that don't have a penny to their name or no sponsorship or no connections, right? They're not that valuable because someone has to pay for the car to go around. Or you can find guys that have tons of money.
They can't drive.
Tons of money.
Like right.
A bit of a liability, bit not with the skill set. So I've been able to devote a lot of my life, on the business side of things, to be able to bring some of my own financial, means to a team. Been able to make great relationships with guys like Andy and bring sponsorship to our team. Our team first Phorm's the title sponsor. And still, you can have all that. You can bring all that stuff. But someone has to drive the car, right, at an extremely high level for, hours and hours on end without a mistake. So, like the first year when we arrived, I had all this. We had everything was there. We had a good team. I felt like I had done the work. The car crashed with me in it. So I can't. It wasn't my teammate's fault. I got, and you can say, wrong place, wrong time. I was in the car, man.
What's that like, dude? Like, how's that feel? Like, for real? Like,
it's
because when
you do it, when you crash,
it
feels bad. Like when I've been where my teammate crashed, and you're like, shit, dude, I didn't even get to drive. Like, so like
I wouldn't have crashed.
Yeah, I wouldn't have crashed. There's easy that feels bad.
Yeah.
But dude, when you're at the wheel, dude, and like you crash it, not like, oh, we got to come in and fix it. Like you're out. Like I've been because that's the first radio call is we're out. Yeah, because the engineer, they don't know. They have sensors and stuff on the car. They can tell the car stopped, right? And they, but they don't know what happened. They're like, oh, maybe he can get it back.
Yeah,
like when you properly crash it.
Yeah, it's not like how you see on F1 TV on the show where the guys have so much data. They know.
They know. Yeah. Our guys have a tremendous amount of data, but they
know if you stop, it's not good.
Can you get the car back? Right. Can you get it back to the pit lane? But when you're sitting there and like the whole front is smashed off or whatever, and you got to tell them like, we're out, and that all this work, all this money, all this time, all this preparation, it's all,
dude. And the preparation is for a year. Like that's you start prepping to run the Daytona the minute after the Daytona finishes or the Le Mans finishes.
Like obviously we have other races throughout the year, but like
they're all tuned up.
That's right. I mean, everyone wants to win. Le Mans for sure is the biggest race in the world. I mean, you can ask like any driver, any Formula One. I mean, look, right now the talk in Formula One is like McLaren is making a new car to come to race at Le Mans. Like Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, Verstappen's talking about he wants to come to Le Mans. Like every driver, I don't care who you are, you want to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans. The Indianapolis 500 is up there, the biggest race. The Monaco Grand Prix and F1, but Le Mans is one of, I would say, the top 3 races in the world that everyone wants to win.
It's the most viewed.
Yeah,
it's the most viewed motor race ever.
So that amount of pressure, you have like everyone from F1 to NASCAR to IndyCar, like everyone wants to be at this race. So the preparation that goes in, if you have, and one, you can't just sign up to come to Le Mans, you have to be invited. So even as a driver or a team, there's only so many slots that cars can physically fit into the pit lane. So you have to earn an invitation. And so even then, to earn the invitation, the amount of preparation that goes into being ready, for the race, both from a personnel standpoint and the car. Like I can tell you, our car at Porsche, they work on that car. I mean, every single part of that car has been gone over time and time and time again. And like we have like a splitter, like the front splitter that's in the front. And I can't talk to you about a lot of the secret things, but I can tell you like the front splitter we have, the rear wing that we have, there are certain parts on the car that are Le Mans only. And I mean, they are designed exactly for this one race, right? To make Le Mans is kind of interesting because we have these super long straightaways, like the Mulsanne straight. where we're going top speed for a really, really long time. And then there's also super high speed corners and then some very, very tight first gear corners. So the track, when you first look at it, looks kind of simplistic. When you're there, it's like the combination of everything. You have to have a car that's fast on the straights, because if you're not, you're just going to get passed, and it's the easiest place to pass. You have to have a car that has enough downforce to be stable in the really high-speed corners, like these ones down here at the end, corners like 20 and stuff. They're here. Those are called the Porsche curves. Dude, you enter those cars, like those corners in fifth gear, and you're going through there at 140 to 130 miles an hour. And then you have corners like the final chicanes. Those are called the Ford chicanes. You're in first gear. In first gear, you're barely crawling. There's these huge curbs that you got to climb and go under. So the car has to perform at low speed, medium speed, high speed, and it also has to be fast, right? So it's, from an engineering standpoint, it's super hard to have a car that's good at all of those things. And you'll never have one that's perfect at all of them. You'll always have some, inadequacy. But that's what's so kind of special and unique about developing the car that can be good around that track. But if you can be fast here, you can be fast anywhere.
Let me ask you this: how hard was it for you to learn that skill of just trusting your other teammates, right? Like whether it's pit crew, whether it's like your engineers, like having to have that faith, trust in somebody else to control something you can't control.
I mean,
how hard was that for you?
I think to beat the business analogy horse, but I've been a part of large organizations for so much of my life that you have to trust if Andy Frisella can run all of First Phorm completely by himself, there'd be no need for these hundreds of employees here, right? So no one can do anything this complex and great, on their own. In the racing car, there is something that is just, I don't want to say it's balls or blind faith. Like when the engineer is telling you, hey, the Porsche curves, you can enter that, at 140. And you're like, okay, that sounds good. And then you arrive there in the real car and or I'd say even first on the simulator. We do try things first on the simulator. And like, okay, the engineer says 140 miles an hour at this corner. And you arrive there and you're like 160, 170 flat. And you think, oh my, and let me tell you, it's a hard corner. And you brake and you downshift twice and you turn, you look down, you're like 110. And you're thinking, oh gosh, I'm on the limit here. And you go back to your notes and goes, wait, 140, he said. Okay, let's try again. And you crash and you crash and you crash. And you're like, call the engineer back, like, hey man, question.
I know you said,
so the simulator helps with these types of things. Yeah. Then you arrive to Le Mans and you get there for the first test day, because this track is mostly country roads. There's only a small bit of it that's like a proper racing track, and then you're using the rest of the country roads in France. And this, again, the race is 100 years old, right? But 100 years ago, they only raced on the country roads. So you can't just go here and practice anytime you want. They only close the roads for this one race a year. And so you're flying down the road the first time, like the first practice day, and the track's always dirty at the first time because it's a normal highway. There's trash on the sides and stuff, right? And you go flying towards that corner, and man, let me tell you, yes, you do have to have a lot of faith in your engineers and what they tell you is capable of the car, and that takes some time. I mean, that takes, you gotta make, like, is he lying to? Is he sure? Like, how sure is he?
Dude,
it takes a little bit of time.
From an very amateur perspective, I found it very helpful to have someone telling me what to do when I was
100%.
when I was, because like, dude, for me, at a very amateur level. Now, you almost have to have someone telling you what to do because you have no idea what the car will do. And if you trust them, you'll be fast.
We have a ton of data. These cars collect, like you when you and I drove. Yeah. You can. I'm just like you. I'm much more comfortable if I can see that. Okay, another driver on the same day on the same car, he broke at this point. I'm braking earlier. the guy didn't crash. He made it, you know.
Yeah.
So I've been able to just get myself wrapped around really quickly what one man can do, another man can do.
Right.
So, but I'm usually not the first person to go do it. In some of these situations, I let, my teammate does it. And now the good thing is there's a lot of like amateur drivers that you can show them the data over and over, and they'll spend a week, a day, like going there, and they'll never make it to the breaking point, right? I've been really quick. I'm real quick. If you show me, hey, Brian, your teammate breaks here at the 50, it doesn't take me 4 laps or 3 laps. Like I go the next lap. I will.
The learning curve is short.
It's very short.
Yeah.
I inherently know what one man can do, another man can do. So that's whether that's stupidity, bravery, I don't know, but I've arrived.
Wouldn't you say though, like that's one of the most important elements to becoming a great driver quickly?
It's easy to say it. Right? Say it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, when you like in this world of simulators, right? They're awesome, by the way. I mean, these simulators are actually really, really good. But there's always that element on the simulator. You can always just hit that magic reset button after you crash, and it costs no money.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to the hospital, and you can reset. When you arrive at the real car, there's real consequences, and that's real speed, and that's a real concrete wall right there. That's the difference. Everyone can say, oh yeah, brake at the 50-meter mark, no problem. Easier. Some people can do it and some people can't. Yeah.
I mean, dude, it's a parallel to business too. I mean, how fast can you learn?
How fast can you learn?
How fast can you watch someone else do something and then know that you can do it too? Or do you say, oh, but he's an anomaly, or that's a special circumstance, or we're not them? Yeah. Because none of that shit is true, dude. It just isn't. You've got to be able to learn quick.
Another thing in business that relates is a lot of people don't realize a race car, if you drive it for 1 hour on one set of tires and you see a racing driver who can run virtually the same lap time for over the 1 hour or very, very close to it, that is such an unbelievable skill set because the tires are consistently wearing out. Every lap that you go, the tire has less grip. And when you go for 1 hour, let me tell you, those last 5 laps at the end is so incredibly hard because it's like driving on ice. There's literally like no grip left in the tire. And for you to achieve anywhere close to the lap time that you did at the first of the few laps is really, really hard. It is possible because when you start at the first lap, you have a full tank of fuel. Fuel weighs a lot when you have it all.
Right.
The fuel is burning off over the hour. So the car is actually getting lighter as the time goes on, but the grip is going away. So you start with a lot of grip, super security, but you're just slow because it's kind of heavy and sluggish. Then the car gets super light and nimble, but you have no grip towards the end. The best drivers can achieve a similar lap time all the way across. There's a big parallel in business, and right when the conditions are perfect and everything's fine and you can achieve one result you're in sales in the month of May and you can achieve a good result. Being able to achieve that same result maybe in the month of January when
it's a different trend.
It's a different trend. This is more difficult and takes a skill set. So there's the only constant is change, right? And that's for sure in racing and for sure in business. It's just another reason why I love it so much in life, right? What you can do now doesn't mean you can do it later. And if you really develop the skill set, it is possible. But man, it takes.
And the really great championship people actually perform much better when the circumstances are much more difficult.
So, dude, the best drivers, when it rains,
they're great.
Everyone talks about Ayrton Senna.
Yeah,
man, in the rain. I don't care what driver you ask. Driving a race car in the rain with like slick tires. We do have rain tires you can put on, but a lot of times it's dry and then the rain comes, but you have the dry tires on. Let me tell you, dry tires on a wet track, I can't explain to you how slick it is. I mean, you can think to touch the gas pedal. You don't actually do it. Just your brain thinks, I wonder if I should hit the gas now. Bam, you're spun out backwards in the wall. I mean, it's so difficult. And Ayrton Senna was like, he was the man, in the rain. And the feel that it takes, he was unworldly. Okay. But man, this is also like another analogy. Like sometimes out of the blue, it can rain.
Yeah.
Right. And
there's chaos. It goes from
everything's
perfect
fine.
Conditions.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
And then it's chaos. And a lot in the driving world, a lot of drivers are still on the radio. Oh God, it's raining and we have to pit. We have to pit now. And the pit crew's like, dude, you can pit. We're going to go to last place. Like, survive. Can you survive? In Le Mans, it's super specific. Le Mans, the racetrack is like over 8 miles long. It's almost 9 miles. All the time. When it rains in Le Mans, it very rarely rains the whole track. The track is so big, it can usually rain only in one section. And the pit crew, they all know that. They have radar and everything coming. So you arrive and you're like, I've done it. I've arrived like, oh my God, we have to pit now. It's like monsoon. They're like, you got to survive, Ryan. If you can make it past Tetra Rouge or what the next sector, it's actually dry. And you're like, and I remember this was last year. It came huge rain towards the end of the lap. And I mean, I was surviving. And a lot of the guys I was racing with, they all peeled into the pit lane. And our guys told me to stay out, like it's going to dry up. And I didn't question them, but I did ask, like, are you sure? Like everyone's going in. And they're like, no, trust me. And sure enough, we cycled to the lead. Everyone came in for wet tires. I made it, several corners later, and then it was the sun. So we kept going, and man, we made a big lead right then because all the guys that came for wet tires, guess what they had to do? When the rain stopped, they had to come back into the pits again to get dries again. So
it's such a good parallel for business. Because
things can change.
Yeah, dude, because the people who truly get ahead in business and who win are people that when the chaos comes, they don't freak the fuck out.
Stay the course.
Yeah, they keep moving. And actually, if there, I think, there is an element of being wired for that. But the best operators that I've seen and probably the best drivers that you've seen are very similar.
Yep.
And that they will make it's kind of a paradox. People who are truly great at what they do, when things are perfect, will usually be hyper, almost insane about how much better it should be.
Yeah.
But then when shit gets crazy, those people calm down, dude. They're like
super
ice,
calm.
super calm. Chaos is happening. Tragedy happened. The storm came out of nowhere on the racetrack.
Yep.
The storm came out of nowhere in your business.
But it's here.
And those people, they go from being like almost hyper aggressive and like annoying and intolerable in terms of like their aggressiveness and their, like,
yeah,
we got to look out for this or that or this, to like, hey, everything's good.
Yep.
We're good.
Yep.
We just got to do this and this and this. And I think that's a trait. I don't know if that's something that people can learn, but I do believe you can get better at it.
Yeah, because it takes an actual effort.
Yeah.
Right? Everything in your body says panic.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's something you can become great at without having it be wired into you, but I do think it's something that people can get better at.
I would agree. I mean, I would agree. There's we all, Ayrton Senna, for sure this guy was born with some things that other humans just haven't been born with. I tell you, and I'm this way in business, on the racetrack, when it starts raining, I immediately get excited. Yeah. Deep in. I know this, it's about now I can make a difference.
Yeah, dude. And the business is the same.
It's the same.
Like, everybody's dude, in a bad economy or like COVID, COVID comes, everybody freaks the fuck out.
What are we going to do?
My main thought when COVID happened, and I know it was yours too, because we talked through it, was like, all right, dude, everybody else is going to up.
Yep.
We can jump miles ahead.
Yep. We can pass a lot of people.
And by the way, both of us did in our businesses.
That's right. Yep. We always talk about, there's two types of drivers. I think there's also two types of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
When the rain comes, it's either, oh shit, we have to pit. We like, oh God, what are we going to do? And then there's those that smell the blood in the water.
Yeah.
So,
and let's be fair. We both have tremendously talented and skilled people around us too, that are also that way.
Yep.
You know,
there's
so you got Justin, I got Sal and Jason and Chris and
then
each other.
A common trait amongst all those people.
Yeah.
Right? They're all great operators that I think they also if they were on the racetrack and it started raining,
they'd
be
like, "This is it.
This is it."
Well, I've heard Chris is a terrible driver, though.
Chris is. I don't know. I can't tell if Chris is a great driver or a terrible driver, but I know this: I hate riding with him. I hate it. Yeah. There's something about his casual nature of driving very fast that almost I'm like, you don't know what you're doing here, do you?
I'm not a good passenger almost with anyone.
No.
Do you drive like how hard is it for you to leave the track at the track when you're driving down?
I'm always pretty good. I'm always pretty good. I tell you, there's two people around me. They're usually with me at the racetracks all the time. One's my father. He's comes to a lot of the races, and he's the worst at this. The other's Justin. He's there. They'll be at a long race, whatever, 8-hour race, 24-hour race, and no matter what the situation is, usually I'm a bit tired afterwards, and so I'm not driving the rental car back to the airport or wherever we're going.
I already know where this is going.
My dad is like, when he gets in the rental car after, it's like it's his stint, man. He's in. Like, he is fired up, dude. I mean, we are like breaking every traffic rule. He slams on the brakes like coming into the corners, And we're like, Dad, bro, like,
chill,
it's like, no, it's fine. I've just, I've been, and he says it. He goes, I've been watching racing the last 24 hours. Like, I'm ready to go, And like,
you should take a turn like this.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
He's hitting the apexes, I'm like, Dad, bro, like, if the race is over, man, it's all good now.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
What a good-looking car, though, man.
Oh yeah. Oh well, dude, that's a whole nother thing we could talk about. We developed that. That's been our strategy.
I mean, the blue, obviously it's the first Phorm blue in our Pantone, but I'm sure everybody that drives any kind of race car says, "Oh, mine's the best looking car." But I mean, we get so many compliments from fans that this is the baddest ass looking race car, and we get so many comments on how bright it is in the sunshine. It shows up so bright. You can see our car like on TV. It picks up the light so well, and
you could definitely see even when it's just panning across.
You can always see
it.
The first Phorm car. This year my wife and son got the opportunity at Le Mans to ride in the Goodyear blimp. They got to go up during the race was going on, and they have these videos from the blimp of the cars coming by, and dude, you can see our car coming like all the way down the Mulsanne, like coming out of it's so bright, but. It's become iconic now. I think, we're building something that'll be looked back on, especially now we're going to have 3 different Porsches that have won the 3 largest races in the world. And the fact they were all blue, they're all slightly different in design. We changed the design a little bit, but they're all the blue first Phorm Porsche,
Well, dude, it's like we talked, when we first started, the first few years, we switched the livery every year. Yeah. We were kind of trying to find our way about where we wanted to be, and then I can remember you and I talking extensively because we're both hyper detailed about this, that like we wanted specifically to develop a look and feel to the car that would be lasting and iconic.
Yep.
So
talked about
Richard Petty's car.
Yeah.
So like if you know NASCAR, everybody knows the number 43 STP car from all the way from the 60s till now.
Yep.
And that was kind of our goal, is to create a livery that, it might change a little bit, but 20 years from now, they're going to have Hot Wheels and models and, right. Everybody knows that car, dude.
Yeah. No matter what driver ever drives that car and livery, that's a Richard Petty.
That's right.
STP car. But I think we're doing a good job. I mean, I can tell you now we're racing. We raced in Asia this year. We raced in the Asian Le Mans Series, raced in Abu Dhabi, in the Middle East, and in the World Endurance Championship, which is what Le Mans is a part of, which that's the next goal, by the way. Ask what we're doing after Le Mans to win the World Championship. But in this championship that we're in, we're racing in Europe. We race once here in America. We race in Japan. We race in the Middle East. And this car, even when we arrive, even if people aren't as familiar with first Phorm they're like, oh, that's the blue first Phorm Porsche. They know about it. That's the first Phorm Porsche. That's what fans, Japanese. It's so cool to be in Japan or to be in the Middle East, and people associate it. That's why I knew that, man, we've created. We're not done.
No,
but we are doing a good job along the way
Yeah.
of creating a brand and a association. Porsche is a big part of it, right? But we're creating this association of the bright blue.
Well, dude, and what a better, I mean, there's not a better brand to be attached to. I mean, Porsche is the world's most valuable luxury brand. A lot of people don't know that.
To me, obviously I have a biased opinion, but and you and I are both fans of lots of cars.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I don't think either one of us would debate over who makes the best car.
For me,
from line to line,
if you were going to only have one car, if there could only be one, I truly think a Porsche 911. We can all
you and I would disagree on which one.
Maybe there's lots of versions, but if you had to, go to the grocery store and maybe and also turn up at the racetrack and do a good lap time and drive a back country road and somewhat be comfortable, drive across country. What I would choose a 911. There's
no question. The design hasn't changed since the early 70s, late 60s.
People like our racing car. I mean, it's still it's gotten longer, wider. There's some different things, but it's the same formula basically.
Now, just while we're on the topic, because you've owned all the 911s, I've owned most of the 911s. Which one's your favorite?
That's a tough one, but if I had to pick one, I do really like the 997 model, which was my favorite. Is last year was made 2011. I like both the GT3 RS 4.0 of that year and also the GT2 RS has the turbo, but those two cars, the physical size of the car was much smaller than what we have now. And to me, it was just the most balanced. The 2 RS with the turbo is the fastest. It has the most power. The 3 RS, it's naturally aspirated. Either one I would say that's my favorite.
I think those are both justifiable as top picks.
Yeah. They've gotten more comfortable, bigger, but to me, that was the best.
I've also owned both those cars, and
So what's yours,
dude? I think the 991 2RS, my acid green car. That to me, even though the purists will say, oh, it's PDK, it's not manual.
Yeah, it's still
the amount of power that the car makes and the nimbleness of the car. For me, feels right.
Mm-hmm.
The other cars,
they can be underpowered.
That's what I'm saying. They feel slow to me, and that's just because of the other shit that we get to drive. Right. Like we both have the fastest cars in the world. You've got a Super Sport Chiron. I've got the Pure Sport.
Everything feels underpowered.
Like once you've driven a P1 and once you've driven a Super Sport or a Pure Sport, everything feels slow. Like slow. And then but that 911 still feels quick. And that's what I think I like about it. Cause even with the 2RS manual, the 997, it still felt, people were like, oh, the Widowmaker.
Yeah.
To who? That's how it felt to me.
At the time, maybe.
Yeah. Right.
A lot. Yeah.
I still like them. I think they're great cars. But that's what I would pick.
It's impossible. I get that question all the time. Like, what's your favorite, or can you only pick one? I mean, that's what's so great about cars. They're all so different, and hopefully no one has to pick just one, or whatnot. But it's a great question, But, man, they are so different. There are so many.
I think we both agree on what the greatest Porsche is, though.
Yeah, I mean,
probably the greatest car.
Yeah, Carrera GT. I mean,
which is cool because I actually own his old Carrera GT. That's where I got mine from, and then he got a different one.
I had to get a different one. Yeah, I made. We all make mistakes, right? No, I had a lapse in judgment once.
No takesy backsies.
And no takesy backsies. Yeah, but I was fortunate to be able to, years later get another one. I realized, how great of a car. But you called me like, man, I'm wanting to buy a Carrera GT.
You're like, oh, shit, man. I was thinking about selling mine. I'm like, done.
Yeah. Shortest call.
Yeah. Because it was the color I wanted and everything.
Black. Black on black. Yeah. No, that car's special.
So, dude, switching from, really what we came here to talk about. Let's talk about Le Mans, dude. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So this was our third year, attempting it. And I'll say I came into this race. I don't think you ever expect to win a race like this. I mean, we surrounded ourselves with what I think is the best team. They were the defending champions from Le Mans the year before.
Did the Grello car win last year?
No, it wasn't the Grello. They said the Grello car they run with only top factory drivers like at the Nürburgring. So no, it wasn't the Grello, but it was their team. And I was with a different, bronze driver who was the best. They last year they won the championship, Manthey Porsche, and they also won Le Mans. And so my teammate, Richard Leitz, who was also my teammate in Daytona when we won the 24 Hours of Daytona, he won Le Mans last year with Manthey. And when I came, back, had the opportunity to come back with Manthey and bring, first Phorm, Richie was available to come be my teammate.
So he's won two in a row.
Yeah, so he's won Le Mans 2 years in a row, and Richie's the guy in the middle there. He's now one of the winningest drivers ever at Le Mans. He has won Le Mans 6 times.
Holy shit.
Won it 6 times. He's been on the podium several other times, but I think the winningest driver has won it 7 times.
Dang.
So he's 1 away from tying that record. But yeah, he's won 2 years in a row. So anyway, I knew now
how old is he?
Richie is just about our age.
Yeah.
He probably won't like me telling it. He's like, he had a great response in the press conference. Like, Richie, what do you have to be to, win Le Mans 6 times in a row? And he said, well, the first thing you have to be is very old. Be doing it so many times. But no, man, Richie, having him, it's special, where I won Daytona with him. And then I was able to have him as my teammate, coming here. Man, I knew I had the co-drivers. Also, the third driver we have on our team, his name's Ricardo Pera. He's a silver-rated driver. We went after this guy trying to get Ricardo as our third driver, pretty ambitiously. He's been the last couple of years, he's been one of the fastest drivers at Le Mans specifically. So, he's a bit of a specialist. I mean, he's a great driver. He's Italian. He's won many races and championships around the world. But at Le Mans, he's like the man on sheer speed. So, we put this team together with this race specifically in mind. Richie's won it the most. Ricardo's one of the quickest, and then me coming in, as bronze drivers go, I've been one of the top in the world the last few years. So, any team, I don't know if you know the rules in Le Mans. All drivers are rated by category, and it's based on experience, right? We're all professionals, but it's based on experience. You got to have one gold or platinum rated driver. It could be either one. Platinum is reserved for Formula One, drivers, or if you work directly for a manufacturer. Richard Leitz is platinum. You have to have one silver rated driver, and you have to have one bronze rated driver. And they're exactly what you mean. I'm the bronze rated driver. I would have the least experience of these guys on the team. Ricardo's a silver. And the trick in racing is we're all trying to be the absolute best in our category, right? If I get a little too good, for me, if I were to ever become silver one day, I would not be very valuable as a driver because there's lots of really, really great silvers. Same with Ricardo. When you go you step to that next level,
you're still on the bottom tier.
You kind of could be on the bottom tier of the next level. So every team's trying to get the absolute best bronze and the absolute best silver and the absolute best platinum, at that specific time. And I think we achieved that. I think my performance, I've been right up there in the top 3 or so bronzes in the world last few years, and Ricardo I think is definitely on that verge of probably becoming a gold real soon, and so we got a good combination here. But yeah, the week started we were decent. There in our class is the largest category. There's 24 cars in the class, all different manufacturers. And we were kind of in the practice sessions hovering around the back half of the top 10, really. We were each time between 5th to 10th. Better than the average, but dude, we were, everyone knew it from the start. The Ferrari and the Lexus, which is actually a Toyota, but the Lexus were so fast. I mean, they had more top speed than everybody else. Their lap times were the best. Everyone was talking about it through the practice sessions. And I mean, they were a lot faster than us, and we were pushing. I mean, we were all out, and you kind of can never tell in practice, or everyone or people holding back. They don't want to show their whole cards just yet, and so you don't really know. We were kind of leaning. We were kind of showing it, and the talks just went into, hey, this might not be our year. Porsche won last year. This year, let's get good points for the championship. Even though these guys are fast, like we said, in 24 hours, a lot of shit can happen. A lot of fast cars can have issues and break. But our goal for sure was the podium. We thought if we executed perfectly and we made no mistakes, we would have a shot at the podium, but that was realistically the goal. I definitely wasn't calling you or calling home saying, hey man, this is a year, but we're going to smoke these guys. So that was our mindset, going in. And we got to qualifying. We had a good qualifying. Each driver has to qualify. The bronze has to qualify, then the silver, then the gold, and you kind of, it's an elimination style, kind of like Formula One. I qualified P3. And was really close to the top, it was a bit surprising, Ricardo did the same. He qualified P3 out of the silvers. And then Richard went with all the platinums and golds, and he was P5, but they were all like super, super close. So that was actually like the closest we had been, to the front. So that's where we started the race, was from fifth. You start where the final, where the platinums, qualify. So yeah, we started from fifth. So yeah, that was our goal. I mean, we thought the podium would be kind of the goal, but I would say we spent the first 6 hours of the race.
Well, how close? Just so people understand, it's 8 mile track.
Yep.
Okay. How close are the times from qualifying first to third to fifth?
Oh, I mean, we can pull it up, but just off the top of my head, a really fast qualifying lap time, if you're going under 4 minutes, is really fast. I want to say our pole laps were in the close to 3:55.
Yeah.
Okay. And the top, I know in my qualifying that I was P3, the top 11 or 12 were all within the same second.
Okay.
So we're within tenths, sometimes hundredths.
Okay.
Of a second.
So that's what I'm trying to, from the perspective I'm trying to let everybody understand.
Yes.
You're talking about an 8 mile course.
There's 32 corners. So 32 opportunities to brake and accelerate, or not, right?
And the top 11 cars are in the 3:55 mark.
Within the same second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we
I got it right here.
We're constantly pushing for, tenths of a second.
Yeah. So that's just so you guys that don't know racing, that's how close it is.
And we get a lot of questions. I get a lot of guys like, hey, what's the difference in a bronze like Ryan versus, a platinum like Richie? And Le Mans is a bigger track, obviously at 3 minutes. Most of our tracks are much shorter, right? But, the difference from me to Richie was probably 1-ish second. What is this? Manti, I did a 3:57.2, and Richie did a 3:55.1. Yeah, Richie was the last. Yeah. So within 2 seconds.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's because most tracks I'm within 1 second of Richie, but that's also about a 2-minute lap time. So this is a 4-minute lap time. So here I was under 2 seconds. I was 1.9 seconds from the guy who's one of the greatest drivers in the world. So that's what it takes to be the least experienced guy. You got to still be within like 1 second of the top.
Yeah. Oh, bro, but here's the thing: how long has Richie been racing?
Oh, his whole life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got a guy.
Yeah.
Just so we understand. I think this is important to point out. You've got a guy that's probably been racing since go-karts. Yep. Okay, his whole life. And you have a guy who's been racing for less than 10 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
Who's one within, right there next to him. So like most guys will spend, this is the point that needs to be made. Most guys will spend their entire life trying to make that time up. That gap between Richie and Ryan, they will spend their entire life to make up that less than a second or 1 second or 2 seconds.
The truth is most never will.
That's how close that's how precise and close racing really is.
What I've found, what's so crazy, what I've found is through 9 years, you can get. I mean, I can get within a second, okay, over 2 minutes, and dude, we're talking 1 second spread out over 20 corners.
Yeah,
I mean, bro, it's less than like hundredths of a difference in the braking and the acceleration, right, in each corner, right? Obviously less than a blink of an eye.
If you were watching a video of their feet right next to each other, it would look virtually identical.
It would look identical. Yeah, look identical. And then what I've found is you can get within that second, but let me tell you, the last half a second, the last 5/10, this is what takes a lifetime.
Yeah.
The guys that do this that have dedicated their life, they've dedicated their entire life
to a half a second.
A half a second more than what someone who could come in much later in life can do it. And let me tell you, that last half second, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard. It's very, very hard.
I just think it's important to point that out. That because like as an average, I flip on the television and then there's a race cars going around the track. You don't think about it like that.
Yeah. I mean, we're going a lot of times. You watch the video back and you look at the data and you're like, golly, I'm 1 second or 9/10. Like, where could it be? It's never in one spot or two spots. It's fractionally around each corner, and then to be able to do that and execute it, like we said, over an entire hour with tires changing, fuel changing, weather changing, temperature changing. That's 1 hour.
Yeah.
Then times 24.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah.
It's that's where the skill set comes in.
So we start the race.
I can break down pretty soon. This was honestly a pretty straightforward race. When it's kind of going your way, it's kind of going your way. We spent the first 6 hours, I would say, in the top 5, and kind of. I don't want to say cruising.
You ran 4-hour stint.
Yeah, I
to start the race.
4 hours in a row. I did the only quadruple stint in the entire race. No one else did a quadruple stint. I'll say it wasn't planned that way. The plan was for me to run a triple, which that's about.
It's pretty hard.
That's pretty hard, and a lot of guys, most guys will run double stint, so like 2 hours at a time. It was planned for me to do a triple. My physical fitness has been strong, I'd say, compared to most other drivers. So it's been a strength of ours. And they knew the more I could drive towards the start saves our fastest drivers for the end and saves them more fresh, right? So they called me at hour 3, and we were hanging around that top 5, and they're like, "Hey Ryan, how are you feeling in the car?" I'm like, "Man, I'll be honest with you, like I'm feeling pretty good." Like it's fun when you see see the leaders and we're doing well, and I'm like, "Man, I feel great. If you guys, if it helps, like I'm good to do another one." And they said, "Let us come back to you." And they rummaged around, I guess, for a little while. And they came back like, "Hey man, if you're okay, like it would be a big advantage if you could do, 4. And so, man, if it's an advantage, let's go. And I did it. It was awesome. We gained a lot of space there. And what that did, that set off, I think, what eventually helped us win the race.
Yeah.
A lot of the other teams, as we got towards the night, they had to put in their bronze drivers in because they were running their faster drivers early, where we had saved, we put in our, platinum, and silver drivers against a lot of their bronzes. So that enabled us to jump up quite a bit. And then the next thing that did a big difference was the nighttime. I mean, the night at Le Mans is some of the most difficult. You can ask any driver. I mean, it's not like Daytona, the 24 hours of Daytona. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's easy. It's not easy, okay? But as far as driving in the night, it's extremely well lit. It's damn near the daytime. I mean, all the big, from the speedway, you've got all the lights from NASCAR, and it's basically like driving in the day. Let me tell you something. The backcountry roads in the Midwest of France are not well lit. Like my first year when I went out for the first night practice, I came out of the pit lane. The pit lane, it's all lit up. So it's like the racing track there. So it's like Daytona. It's all lit. And you go the first 3 corners, it's all lit. And then you merge out onto the Mulsanne Straight. And this is where you leave the racing track and go on the country roads. And I was, radio silence for a little while. And I'm driving down the Mulsanne Straight. I went to the first chicane. Then I'm on my way to the second chicane. And I called on the radio. And I'm like, guys, It is dark. It is. I can't explain to you guys.
Is this supposed to be this way?
You can watch all the video. Like, we have video. You can go on YouTube and watch it. My videos are on YouTube right now. You can watch, my laps and stuff at night. And you have oh yeah, it kind of looks dark, but it'll probably be okay. Like, bro, what got me is that, we have headlights, but the headlights, obviously they shine in front of you, right? Well, when you're on a racetrack and you're about to come to a corner, the front of you's fine. You can see out there, but all the time, like during the day, you need to see where you brake, but then your eyes are going to the corner. So let's say it's a right-hand corner. Your eyes are going over to the right, looking for the apex. Well, bro, it's pitch black, dark, so you're braking and you look and you're like, I think we turn now. Yeah. And so you turn and then the headlights move and they're like, nope, too early.
Yeah.
Further. So you have to, it's nothing but time. You have to develop time, and you have to look at things on the road that you can see like right in front of you to give you visual clues of where the turn-in spot is. You can see the break points. Like you recognize signs and different things on the road to where you know where you have to brake. But the turn-in point, this has to come from just muscle memory and feeling and stuff. So anyway, back to my original story. Driving at the night is very difficult. Most bronze drivers don't drive at night. Most teams, they drive their bronze drivers a little bit in the day at start, and then they put in their silvers and their platinums to go back and forth all night long. And then when the sun comes up the next day, the bronzes go in, when the sun is back out. I drove those 4 hours to start. That helped get us ahead. And then I drove, it gets dark kind of late there, around 10 o'clock at night. Actually, it's the summer solstice, so longest day of the year. I drove going into the night. So as the sun was going down, I drove from 10 to about midnight, where no other bronze driver was out there then. And I came out for just a couple hours, and I went back in at 3:30 a.m., and I drove from 3:30 into the sun coming up. Sun comes up kind of early, around 5:30. So I did like it was a triple stint that went into the sun. And again, no other bronze driver was out there. We were in the top three. Both those times we were in third, second, first. And like the team was on the radio, like, Ryan, your pace is doing great. Like the Ferrari had caught me. We were in second. The Ferrari caught me. It had their platinum driver in it. And they're like, Ryan, this is the platinum. Don't risk anything. If he's faster, just don't fight. Let him go, because they still have to do like 4 hours of their bronze driving time.
We'll catch him.
And you're done in the next hour. So I did the most driving at night, which ended up being like a major step forward, because then when the sun came up, I was done. Like I had completed I have to drive like 7.5 or 8 hours of the 24. I was done. And every other team still had their bronzes, had to come in. And bro, we went straight to the front. We passed with the lead when the sun was coming up. And then we led the entire rest of the race. Yeah.
Which is a huge advantage, because it keeps you out of the shit.
Oh yeah. Oh, leading is always better.
Yeah.
And in the back, but yeah, that's pretty much how the race went.
So, dude, what was it like, when we won? I mean, I know what it was like, because for me, but what was it like, dude?
Man, I had a similar feeling in Daytona, but when, we were leading, we had a big lead, but you're constantly counting down every minute, every hour. And the factory Ferrari was in second, and they were the only car towards the end of the race that really had the speed. They were the fastest since we had turned up. And man, I'm like, golly, if anything happens to the car, and this Ferrari is super fast. And but we had this kind of manageable about 1 minute lead, that we just kind of managed all the way through. So you're obviously worried about something just like by chance happening to the car, a flat tire, a mechanical issue, but our car was perfect, the whole time. Again, back to that preparation work. But dude, I would say the last stint for Richie, which was right at an hour, like probably 50 minutes to go, we did our final pit stop, and our engineer was super good on the team. He's talking to the pit crew before, Richie was coming in for the final pit stop. It's like, guys, this is the last one, for the whole 24 hours. Make sure every wheel gun is perfect. Fuel man, make sure, test the fuel flow. Make sure it's perfect. Take your time. We're normally trying to do it as fast as we can, right? He's like, we have a 1 minute lead.
We gave up at 20, 30 seconds?
We gave up almost 25 seconds because he said, take your time, make sure the wheels are torqued. We even added a bit of oil to the engine we didn't have to, just a precaution, took our time with the fuel flow, looked over the car, and then set them out, so we lost some of that minute lead, but on purpose, right? Just keeping everyone calm. But I was there with my son was sitting right next to me, my oldest son, and my wife, Whitney was there. My dad was in the garage, Justin, and man, dude, I couldn't stop shaking my feet. I'd stand up, sit down, walk around, go back up, drink an energy drink. I'm like pacing.
Because that always helps.
Yeah. This will calm me down,
Definitely not an ad.
But dude, it was awesome. I mean, I'd never thought, we could win this race. I mean, just to come and compete in it, is one thing. But when he crossed the line, I mean, dude, the garage erupted. I lost it. I was hugging my son and my wife. It's for me, it's like you dedicate your life to perfection. And we all want to be perfect, right? We're all trying to leave a legacy, and for me, having my son there, that it's my hope, like seeing his dad do something at that level. Dude, as a dad, it hit me, and like no one can ever take that away from us, right? We're in the history books.
No, bro, your name is etched in history.
Yeah. All those posters like you have in your garage.
Yeah, we'll have that.
There's going to be a poster of our car, right? Now. So, man, it's hard to put into words, but
it's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah. And you sent me the screenshot. You were like, by the way, from back in 3 years ago, that we were going to win Le Mans. You were right again.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, look, winners win, bro. And I think people think there's a magical element to it, and I don't think that's what it is at all. I think it's being meticulous and relentless towards whatever it is you choose that you want to go towards. And I don't think that success in business or success in racing or obviously there's limitations, a 5'1" person is highly unlikely to be the MVP of the NBA, right? But outside of that, I really think it comes down to like just an obsessive commitment to achieving whatever it is that you've decided you're going to achieve. And it's not I'd kind of like to do this. Yep. It's an obsession.
Yep.
And for you guys listening, I can't articulate the amount of hours that Ryan and I have spent on the phone talking about winning this race. I mean, over the years, I wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah. Yes.
And, to see you do it, bro, it's one of the coolest moments of my life. I can't imagine what it's like to actually have done it, and to stand out there on that podium with 100,000 people.
I'll never forget that. I mean, I haven't rewatched the TV yet. I hope they showed it and I hope it did it justice. When we walked out on the podium, it's an F1 style podium that's elevated, And when we walked out, they opened the track up after the race for all the fans can come down like on the front stretch. And
there was no end to them.
Bro, it was as far as I could see.
Yeah.
Wall-to-wall people. I mean, the race is one of the most highest attended sporting events in the world, right up there with Indy 500. And I think it's like 370,000 people or something. And it looked like they were all right. They were there, and you talk about for me, I mean, for like you and this company, you guys, believed in me like at a super early stage when I was just starting out and racing. And I can't tell you the amount of pride to stand up there. We had some screaming freedom, energy drinks with us, and we didn't know if like the officials were going to try to take them from us or whatever. So we kind of snuck them in our suits, like as we went up. But to stand there like with the can, wearing our hat, with our logo on top of the podium at, without doubt, one of the world's largest, take out racing.
Yeah.
It's one of the world's largest sporting events.
Yeah.
For me, it was that Super Bowl type of moment, right? And to be able to do that when I walk back in this building, too, and see all these employees and all these team members, same with Mountain Motorsports, our motorcycle dealerships, the amount of pride, that we were able to help create for all of these employees,
Yeah.
customers. How many customers that have reached out and like, dude, we've all loved Phorm or we've loved Mountain Motion, but like now we know someone who's won. I mean, it's a tremendous amount of pride.
Well, dude, and we have never talked about this publicly, but in 2022, was it 2022 or 23? That there was an opportunity for you to invest in the company, and Ryan's actually, people don't know this, but like, you own a small portion of the brand at this point.
Yep.
So, to get up there and be a part of the brand after all these years of being a fan of the brand,
it
had to be, dude.
Yeah. It means, it means a lot. I mean, to be able to, like I say, you gave me that opportunity a couple years ago. I'm a small part, this big, massive thing that you.
Well, actually, a really big part, because having you as a partner for the knowledge and the experience and the strategy and all of those things is invaluable. So, it's for us to go from where we are now to where we're going. It's skills needed.
There's gonna be a long story, written about Phorm one day.
Yeah.
We still have many more chapters in that
for
story
sure
to write. But I'm super gracious of mostly the friendship, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You and I were friends, before anything else, and Sal and Jason and Chris. All you guys give me the opportunity to be more involved with the business. It's there isn't a business that I believe in more outside of the one that I started with Justin. But if I could have, if you asked me a question, hey Ryan, you have the opportunity to invest in any company in the world, any company, man, there's not one that I would want to and see more promise and upside than Phorm.
Yeah. Well, dude, it wouldn't feel right. It wouldn't feel right doing it without you at this point. That's what it comes down to. We've been, how many conversations have we had over the years about the company strategy, not just the race strategy? I think people, like you've been one of my biggest, sounding boards, advisors, partners without officially being part of the company for a decade.
Yep.
And people don't know that, but I wouldn't feel right. I don't think anybody here would feel right doing it without you.
Well, it means a lot. I'd say I get one question all the time about, we have so many fans and people that look up to Phorm, and I get a question like, Ryan, how on earth did you get Phorm as a sponsor? And I have the same, answer back to them, and I think this is a great thing for a lot of young people to hear. If you're ever looking to get investment or a sponsorship from a company, the number one way you can do that is to give more than you're asking to receive. And you said this a lot in your deal. I've always tried from the first time that you and I became friends, and this is in any friendship that I have, I try to give and share more than I asked in return. And I do it in a way that I'm not even hoping or expecting a return. I do it just
selflessly.
Selflessly. Yes. And I think if you can truly master that ability to, in any relationship you have, whether it's, friendship, whether it's business related, or whether you're trying to attract a sponsor,
right,
you have to find ways that you can give. A lot of people say, well, I don't have money, or I don't have, giving is a lot of ways. Like you said, I was there as a soundboard a lot of times. So you just needed somebody to talk to, or somebody to bounce somebody else off of. And that was valuable at the time. And yes, eventually you decided to invest in racing with me.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully it was always, and I think that's what.
Oh, dude,
there was, yes, I received.
Yeah.
But I always felt that I was giving,
dude,
in a way that made sense.
I mean,
so
I know
it's a good
that.
lesson for a lot of young
I know
people.
that, but I don't think, it's never been talked about in public.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, look, bro.
Pretty awesome to see.
It's awesome.
Come.
It's the coolest thing ever.
I thought this was sick too. I just found this online. The video game Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
Somebody has that livery in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be. It's already everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that is.
People are
freaking
making
sick.
it in Gran Turismo and all the Forza, and I get all, because these are individual designers that make the graphic designers in the game.
Do they sell those skins? Like you buy the skins?
And some
guys make them, and
games,
some people just open source it.
Most people it's free. They build them, and it'll be a very widely used game skin after this win.
It's freaking sick, man. But I want to ask you this, Ryan, because you put them all together. You got Sebring, Daytona, Le Mans. Like that's the pinnacle. Like what's next? Like how do you reset a standard? How do you not celebrate too long? What's the next? What's next? Like I mean, how do you top that? That's
a great question. I mean, without a doubt, any competitive person, I think no matter how big the mountain is that you climb, there's always another mountain, right? You start thinking about, what else is there to achieve? For me, I got a short term and a long term answer. The short term is simple. We're currently leading after the win in Le Mans. We're leading the World Endurance Championship, which is ran by the FIA, and that's the highest form of sports car racing in the world. There's Formula One. FIA runs 2 series. They run Formula One and they run the World Endurance Championship. Every manufacturer is involved with the World Endurance Championship, so we are racing with the factory effort from Porsche. We race against the factory efforts from Ferrari, from Corvette, from BMW. So it is the top level, sports car racing. And it's a series. It goes all around the world all year. And the best, the team that, has the most points at the end of the year is world champion. So outside of the Formula One World Championship, this would be the next highest level of a season-long championship in the world. So that's the goal. We're currently leading the championship after Le Mans. Le Mans is worth a lot of points. We've won one other race. We won in Italy. We're the only team to have won 2 races so far this year. We're in a pretty close battle with the factory Ferrari, as it was probably the next, I'd say, strongest team.
Good, man.
They're strong. I mean, without a doubt, they're the next
brand.
Well, bro, that's their whole thing.
It's the two of us. Yeah. I mean, we're I don't want to say head and shoulders, but there's great competition amongst. Corvette has a strong, racing team. Toyota, like BMW. There's a lot of great teams, but Ferrari and us are the leaders, and we have the lead, and so that's the short term goal. I want to be world champion, and have that as a title. Here that's the short term goal. Long term, I just start now. My whole goal was to win Le Mans, to try to win that race and win the trifecta. Believe me, my wife is asking like, "Hey, so you won Le Mans now? Like,
time to retire?
Yeah, when are we gonna be done?"
Well, dude, it's a big commitment from the family. Like people.
A lot.
I mean, look,
she sacrifices a lot, and I'm super fortunate, decided, with her, my kids, it's a lot of time away from home, and but. To answer your question, my long-term goal is legacy, right? I'm starting to think about legacy, and like I look at, is there, how many times could I win this, or how many, championships, could there be? And so I would like to leave a lasting legacy, both in the racing world and as well as the business, community world. And I think, obviously associated with
they're parallel.
Phorm. Yeah, I think
because we have to continue to grow the brand if we're going to continue to have the legacy in racing.
Yep. Yeah. So I think about legacy both for the brand personally, and so that's
it's actually pretty cool because like when Ryan and I talk about the business, like it's funny because a lot of it correlates to, and if we could do that, we could do this.
So, do this over here. This over here.
Yeah. If that's possible.
Yeah. I mean. You know my long-term goal, like we're going to be an F1.
I was about to ask. I didn't want to like break no secrets.
I mean that's where you're going to ultimately see our car, our livery, everything that we're doing. You will 100% eventually see that in F1.
Yeah, we're making all the right headways. We know the right connections. Yeah, let me tell you, we are first Phorm in like that blue livery. We are on the world map, and it's what it takes. I mean, you can't just turn up in Formula One, even to a team. Obviously these teams want to be associated with great brands, and we're on the way.
Yeah, we will be owners, maybe, I don't know if Ryan will be driving the F1 car.
I think we may need to find maybe
we might need a guy who's
driver.
20, you know.
Yeah. I may be like the Brad Pitt character in the new F1 movie. I'd be
I mean, we might sneak in a couple laps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we can go do some boy, that'll be an expensive
that's all right.
lesson if we
don't cross that don't cross that line.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Well, dude, look.
It's been awesome.
It's been awesome. Yeah, there's no other way to say it, man. You know, the whole thing, dude, like our friendship, seeing, you know, you guys grow your company, our company, now our company. You know, the partnership with AB and Dana and the guys, like,
yeah, super fortunate.
Yeah,
it takes all the time. Like, man, it's a pretty good life.
It's weird. It's surreal, bro. It's like you know, and it circles back to the thing that we were talking about. You know, what, you know, the time, right? Like 10 years in, you're like it would have been so easy for you or me to both been like, yeah, I'm gonna do something else.
Yeah,
you know, and now here we are. Doing it. Like for real doing it. And it's just I know for me, dude, like as much as I expect to win, you know, because people ask me a lot personally. They're like, dude, did you ever imagine? And I'm always like, yeah, dude, I wanted to be here 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. But like now that it's like real, it is kind of surreal. Like it's like to stop, you know, just for a second and be like, the brands
Summer Smash at Anheuser-Busch at the distillery.
Yeah. You know, we've transformed more lives than any other company ever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's surreal, dude. It's a surreal thing to sit and think about and look at, and the time invested, you know, it's not like we're 70 years old, bro. You know, we're, you know, early side of 40s, not backside. And, I think you guys should all remember that. I think you guys who have the dreams and have the goals, and I think you guys got to, you know, don't get caught up in the short money, you know, think about the big picture, what you can do. You know, the one thing that these guys have, turning it back to entrepreneurship for just a second, that we didn't have, is they had the ability to generate capital doing side hustles that were not available to us. And what I see from a lot of the young guys is they get addicted to this side hustle shit and never actually build it into a real brand. And dude, I hope you guys remember, like, it's not just about the money. It's not just about, you know, making a few dollars and making some cool Instagram posts. Like the journey, the time, the friendships, the stories, that's your life, dude. Like it's not a balance statement. It's not a number. It's the story created through that journey. And you know, when I stop and think about it, dude, I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's very well said. It's all in the journey. That's where the magic happens. It's not at the finish line.
No.
Yeah.
Well, bro, man, I'm proud. I couldn't be more proud of you, dude. And I couldn't be more proud to see you do that. The whole thing, you know, everything that we've done, everything we're doing, and just it's one of the coolest things in my whole life, man.
Yep. Proud to do it with you, bud.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
sweet.
Yeah. I love you, man, for real. That's real shit.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same, bro.
So
absolutely.
All right, guys. I know that was a little different for a Tuesday show, but I thought you guys might enjoy it. And
couple car guys just talking cars.
Yeah. and a story. And there's so many parallels for any of you guys trying to achieve anything. You know, the endurance, the persistence, the perseverance through the hard shit, you know, the time that doesn't go fast enough. And then when it does go fast enough, it goes too fast. Like, it's just such a, it's a crazy way to live your life, but I wouldn't trade it, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, Ryan, thank you, bro. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Being here.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
All right, guys. We will see you later on this week. And don't be a hoe.
Share the show.